The coaches are in. When you need a timely, transparent friend, tune into the coaches are in. Talking career, business, health, and wealth. You've got a friend now into the coaches are in. With authenticity, come on, let's take a seat and tune in.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Coaches Are In. We are excited to have you here this evening, and we're excited about the show that we have for you tonight. But before we jump in, I'm going to introduce myself, and then I'm going to have my co-hosts introduce themselves. I am Dr. Cherita Weatherspoon, founder of Powerhouse Coaching, and The Coaches Are In. I am a business strategist and alignment coach for Black entrepreneurs.
And I'm Dr. Malaika Turner. I am the CEO and founder of The Speaker LLC, but I'm also going to be your confidence coach here.
Hi, I am Allison Garrett. I am your behavioral interventionist, and I work with professional women over 40 who cannot identify what is blocking their breakthrough, and I help them learn what their core challenge is without years of therapy.
Without years of therapy. All right, so here's what we have for you on tonight's episode. All right, so we're going to kick off this episode with our viewer question.
All right.
Here we go.
All right.
Ready.
All right, so here's the question. All my life, I've struggled with doubting myself and feeling like I'm not good enough. I know this is holding me back, but I'm not sure how to stop feeling this way. How can I build more self-confidence and learn to believe in myself?
I guess I'll take that.
Yes, bring the confidence on.
But you know what? I'm always going to start with this question, specifically to our viewers. Can you think back to when this started, right? So a lot of times there are things that we go through that trigger this feeling of inadequacy, right? I'm inadequate. I'm not enough. Maybe it's the lack of a presence in your life, right, that has resulted in that. So I like to start with asking the viewer, when do you think that started? Have you gotten counseling already? Have you had conversations about that? And so one of the things that I would say concerning confidence is it is something that has to be built. We're not born with confidence, right, necessarily. I think we're born as children kind of stepping out and doing different things, but a lot of that is, I think that's kind of something that we get from our parents and the kinds of behaviors and the kinds of things that we see growing up. But for the most part, especially as women, we have to build confidence.
Sure.
That is a constant work that must take priority in your life, because so easily someone can come and tear down our confidence. So how do I stop this feeling, right? I'm always going to tell you it's what you say, because I am a firm believer of what you say and what you think, what you practice in your mind makes a difference. A lot of times it starts with us. I also think it's important to find coaches, therapists who can talk you through some of that, whatever that is, where it started, like where you figure there's what has triggered that feeling of lack of confidence. But then the work begins when you change the narrative, change what you say, change what you think, begin to listen to what we hear, what comes into our ears and our eyes, what we see. Those are the things that we digest and become a part of us. And so what I say, like, I know there are times when I have to change what I say, right? I have to look in the mirror and tell myself, boo, you are enough. Girl, you've got this. And I think that is critical. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think it starts with me. And also realizing that, and I don't know, they didn't say this, but let's not wait for other people to build our confidence. Right? So if you're looking for confidence to be built in other people to build your confidence, then I think that is also an issue.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts? Because I know we've all had to deal with issues of confidence.
Yeah, so my initial thought is that you decided to believe what other people thought about you.
Mm.
And that's why you have a lack of confidence. Somewhere along the line, someone said something, did something, made you believe that you were not as good as you are.
Right.
And you decided to believe it. Today, I need you to decide to believe something different.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And like you said, you can't wait on other people to reinforce that you're good enough. Decide that you are good enough, because the truth is you are.
That's exactly.
You absolutely are. Not even just good enough. You're good. You're good. Just straight. Not enough. Just you're good. You're great. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. You're lovable. You're worthy. You're valuable.
Tell me more.
You are all of those things already, and you are that in spite of your failures, in spite of your mistakes. You just are. So decide to believe that, and then as you're doing things and accomplishing things and making decisions about things and moving forward, accomplishing your goals, celebrate yourself. Right. Because that's almost like a demonstration of your confidence in yourself. And the more that you believe it about yourself, the more others are going to believe it about you as well, but you don't need them to.
Right.
Because it really isn't important what they think about you. What's most important is what you think about yourself, because ultimately that is what is going to impact your life on a day-to-day basis.
Yes, that's good.
That is good.
You could just close it right there. But I'll just add a little, just even thinking about what you're saying. What's most disturbing to me about this question is the fact that she says, I've struggled with this all my life.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Where did this start? And who did it start with?
That has got to be a painful place. If all you can think about is all my life I struggled with this, to your points, it is very likely that it's what someone else has said.
Right.
So you said something too else about triggers, right? So I would say you have to think about what actually happens when it's happening. And it's important to identify it in that moment. So when you have this moment of feeling that self-doubt and not good enough and all those things, write down exactly what it was that happened. Right. And write how it made you feel. And then try to make the connection about the first time you felt that way about that thing. And then it becomes more of you doing a pattern interrupt. Because now this is an autopilot thing. Right? Like it's not really that she's not good enough. It's a feeling that comes over her when certain things happen. Right. So in identifying that, you'll be able to learn that when this happens, it doesn't mean this. Right. You'll be sticking more to the facts. Yeah,
that's good.
Autopilot.
Breaking the pattern. Because I guarantee you she doesn't always, she probably does feel, but I wonder if it's certain situations.
I wonder if it's certain people.
Oh,
that's right.
A lot of this, or the same person.
Right.
Then you have to think about removing yourself.
Type of person, and I want something that came to my mind. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was going to add too is that sometimes you build confidence by completing the small goals. Right. So some small, measurable, quick things that then you start building. Oh, I can do it. Okay, I am good at this. Right. And honing in on that and really begin to build that. Yeah. Make that your pattern.
And that it's a focus. Right. It's the focus on the things that you do well and do right. Right. And even the things that are making you feel like you're not. Is that really the truth? Right. Did you just, I think it's, you said words, right? Somebody could say something like, you ruined everything. You take that personally. Did you really ruin everything?
Everything.
No.
Right. Everything.
Or every time I do this, is it really every time? So you have to challenge yourself not to just accept that because it's not the truth.
Right. Exactly.
So just building more truths, and you said it too, is the the baby steps, right? You're not going to just wake up and say, I'm just all the way confident.
Although you should wake up and say that. Like wake up and say, I am confident.
Right.
I am confident. I am strong. I am intelligent. Wherever you think you are lacking, affirm yourself on a daily basis when you start your day and when you end your day. So your mind is kind of calculating on the last thing that you ran through it. Yes. Let it be something that affirms who you really are.
And I use this exercise too, where write down like a list of badass moments, right? There's probably like, think of 10 things that you did and you knocked it out the park and it was amazing. Whatever that thing was, and that becomes like your little go-to. So it's like, okay, I'm feeling this kind of way. Oh wait, I remember that time where I did X, Y, Z. Right. So now you're building your bank of the positive things about yourself, so that you can continue to build that confidence.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
And if you can't think of anything, ask some other people who you know love you and care about you.
For sure.
Not the people who you're around who make you feel less confident.
Right.
And while I'm not a fan of getting opinions from social media, I do often see when people make those posts about like, what do you think I'm good at?
Right.
And people will typically like respond positively. They can help you identify some good things about yourself that you don't even think anything about it because it just comes natural to you, but they're looking at you in admiration.
Exactly.
That's good.
The way we see ourselves is always skewed. I don't know if we're made that way. Like our default view is skewed because we see ourselves based on the mistakes we make or the things we do as opposed to the impact that we make on other people. That's why when you say, tell me 3 things about me that are positive, people can come up with the 10.
Yeah, you're stuck.
I am stuck on 2.5.
It's like, no, really? I could use that one? That's really a thing?
Right. We're not... We struggle with that.
Yeah.
I blame Eve, but that's a different story. That's a different show. But yes, so that's good. So that's good, and I feel like I hope that we've helped you with our answers, and if nothing else, come on back and rewind this episode.
Yes,
so you can hear the strategies and the tips that we want to share with you, or that we've shared that will help you.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we will be right back with our next segment. Work-life balance a myth? Is it something that we aspire to but will never really attain, or maybe we can attain it but we are not able to maintain it permanently?
So first of all, the only reason that I say work-life balance is because it's so well known. And it's how people find me when they want to reach out to work with me. They'll put work-life balance. But honestly, I am, besides being a therapist and a coach and an entrepreneur, I'm also a single mom. I'm a friend, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, and I have still not achieved this work-life balance myself. I like to think of it as work-life alignment, because there were things that I used to do that weren't in alignment with the lifestyle that I wanted. So I've switched my thinking of looking for balance, because when we think of balance, we think of everything needs to be equal. Everything needs to be smooth, but really it's not like that. Things are either in alignment with our lives or they're not. Or I've heard of work-life rhythm. I like that because, the rhythm can change, but there's sometimes it's a little bit more up, a little more down, but you can follow a rhythm. So work-life balance, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, based on my lived experience, I I think it's this theoretical thing that somebody thought up in an educational program somewhere. Like they created this idea while they were writing their dissertation or something. Um, but I'm like you. Like when you think about what balance really is, I don't know that is an achievable thing. But I love your use of the word alignment because I'm very, very big on alignment and doing lifestyle alignment work, even within the confines of my programs. Because I believe in building a business that serves you just as much as it serves your clients, right? And a lot of that is around alignment. So when you figure out what your values are, right? And then you're able to make decisions and choices about the things you do in work and life that align with those values, then I think you can accomplish lifestyle alignment. So
Absolutely. So we're on the same page. I don't know who wrote that dissertation, like you said. Maybe they didn't have kids, or I don't know, but they weren't married. Things change, sometimes from week to week. But yeah, absolutely. When we have alignment, or what I'll tell people, you can create a framework for your life. You can create a sustainable self-care routine that fits into that framework. Then life looks like whatever you want on your terms.
Mm-hmm. So the what I think is key to this whole lifestyle alignment, right, is that knowing what is it that you actually want, what is it that you value, and it's not that what should you be saying based on societal norms or what your family expects, or how you were brought up, because a lot of those things will influence what we think is important to us. But when we really dig into who we are and what's important to us, we'll find that sometimes what we want for ourselves is not what everybody else says that we should want.
Yes, exactly. And we can't be afraid of judgment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Judgment from others about how we want to live our lifestyle. I've had clients who, they felt burnt out. They were tired. They have to go to work, pick up the kids, come home, cook dinner and all that stuff. And then they're like, oh, and now I got to wash the dishes. And I remember telling a client once, like, use paper plates. Oh, I can't use paper plates. I got to use for why? I mean, I'm not judging you. If somebody's judging you, it's you judging you.
Right.
And then she's like, oh, I used the paper plates. It was fine. And it doesn't mean it has to be forever or all the time. But when you're looking at what do I need in my life now, like this week is a crazy week. I can't cook dinner this week. So we did Uber Eats. Like, you do what you need to do for your family.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I'm going to share this example. So I have a number of friends who have children who are teenagers or like preteen, maybe like 11, 12 or whatever. And they are, the mom is like still pretty much doing like all of the cooking, like all of the dishes and probably laundry too. And I share about how things work in my house because I used to do all of the things. I no longer do all of the things. There are very few things that I actually still do. And that is because like one, I have 4 children who are all very capable and who I want to be able to live independently when they leave me, which means they got to learn how to do some stuff before they leave me. Right. I also have a husband who is very capable and who can do some stuff too. So I cook 2 nights a week. Somebody else is cooking the other nights, and we got one night where it's go for yourself. Maybe I'll buy food for everybody. Maybe I'll buy food for me. If you want me to pick you up something, you give me somebody to get your food too, right? Everybody's doing their own laundry. And everybody has their responsibility around the house. Like, we all live here. We all need to be responsible for taking care of it. And sometimes that reaction is just like, how do you get your kids to do that? I'm like, how do I get them to do it? Like, I don't even understand where that question is coming from. They live here. They want to continue you to live here.
Right? That you just said, that's a good point. And you know what? Oftentimes we're not getting the self-care we need. We are burnt out. We're not getting the work-life balance because we're waiting for somebody to give us permission.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody say, it's okay, you don't have to. It's okay, I'll do this. They're not usually going to do that. As long as you keep doing what you're doing, they're going to keep going along with it. They're not going to be like, I think it's time for me to do my own laundry. Right. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I think it's time for me to start washing the dishes. We would love that, but really and truly, it starts, at a young age where you're like, okay, let me show you how to do this. Let me teach you how to do this. This is what you're going to do. I haven't done laundry for my daughter since maybe the 6th grade. Mm-hmm. We sat down and, she got her notepad and we talked about separating the clothes and,
right.
The colors, the whites. This is the laundry detergent. This is hand wash. And she practiced, she messed up a little bit. We have to allow them to mess up. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't want her clothes messed up, so she stopped messing them up.
Right.
And now she does her own laundry and she'll be like, oh, I'm running out of clothes. I need to do my laundry. And now I have time to do something for myself and I don't have to do that for her. And it's the same thing with fixing herself something to eat. Little kids, you can start teaching them to make their own peanut butter and jelly sandwich. They can use a butter knife. They don't have to use a sharp knife, but they can get to certain ages where you teach them how to do things. And now you gave yourself permission to pause, to rest, to do your self-care, to breathe.
Yes. And it's part of it is like, what are you teaching your children or the other people in your household or life, right? That you've been kind of doing everything for. But part of it is also recognizing that you deserve to be able to rest, right? And you deserve to have help. And I go back to something I think I may have said in a previous segment where we've talked about like wearing this thing as a badge of honor. Like you're not doing anybody any good by burning yourself out. Like, and ultimately you're not going to be of any help to anyone because you've gone without your own help and support for so long, right? So it's recognizing that we can all contribute to the attainment of a vision that we have for our lives, right? Anyone who is like in your household, like they can all help with that, right? And it's okay for them to be active participants in the things that they want, but I do like what you said about giving yourself permission to pause. And I think that word choice is very strategic, like permission. I just talk a little bit more about that, like using that word permission and where that came from.
That came from paying attention to how my clients were responding to me telling them to do self-care. Mm-hmm. It was almost as if me telling them that they can do it, I gave them permission to do it. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to do that. They could have done it all along, but I told them to do it. Like I've actually had people say, well, I did that because you told me to. Mm-hmm. You gave me permission to do it. So it's learning how to give yourself that permission. You might be waiting for your family to do it or even your job. There are so many people who do not take lunch breaks. They don't use their PTO. They're not taking vacations. Why? They're not delegating. They're waiting for someone to tell them to do it. Mm-hmm. So they can feel okay doing it. But when we learn to do that for ourselves, we take ownership over our own self-care, our own wellness, and you show up better. Don't you feel better when you take a break? You show up as a better mom, as a better spouse, as a better employee, as a better entrepreneur. You show up better. You feel good.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So where do you think the idea comes from around? So, because when you talk about permission, if I need someone to tell me that I can do something, I innately believe that I can. So where does that come from? That idea that
I can't do this. And I literally need to hear somebody else tell me that it's okay to do it, or that I should go ahead and do it, for it to be okay for me to take that action.
That comes from multiple places,
Mm-hmm.
but in therapy, we call it learned behaviors or conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
So when we think of learned behaviors, I know growing up in my household as a Caribbean person, and this could be for other cultures too, you were supposed to get up out of bed like 6, 7 in the morning, and you're active, you're working, you're doing something. The only reason you should be lying down is if you're sick or if it's nighttime for bed. Like, rest is not okay.
Right.
So you learn that I can't pause, I can't rest. That means I'm lazy. That's bad. That's a negative thing. That's learned, right? Or you might have gone through some jobs where you saw that people who took time off were punished. Or maybe you were punished. Like, oh my goodness, I went on my lunch break and now they have a problem with that. Or I went home on time and I got in trouble for going home on time because everyone else was staying late and they were working past 5 and working past 6. The experiences that we have inform us. We start to develop subconsciously ideas about how we should function or not function. So the idea of resting, the idea of taking a break, sometimes feels really uncomfortable. Even when people are taking time off, they feel this nervousness, like I should be doing something. Or what's going to happen if I'm not doing it? Or how are people going to feel? Am I letting them down? Am I disappointing them? It just feels wrong. There's actually a term that I saw on social media. I didn't make it up, but I saw stress laxing. Are you stress laxing? So you're relaxing, but you're stressed out because you're relaxing, because you feel like you should be doing something. So all of that is learned, and we can unlearn it. We can train ourselves to have that soft life. We have to unlearn what we learned and start telling ourselves something new, like, I don't have to work this hard, or I don't have to show up for people in this way for them to know that I love them. I'm all about acts of service. I love acts of service. That's my love language. However, there are other ways that I can show people I love them.
Right.
Words of affirmation, telling people I appreciate you. Thank you. That was so kind of you. So we have to think about when we're like overworking ourselves and we're not resting and we're not giving ourselves this permission, where did that come from? Wherever that came from, we can unlearn it.
So I know a few people, I might be one of them, who will say, and so for instance, like I do watch TV, but I don't watch a lot of TV. So when I am just like, okay, I'm done working, it's downtime, I may be able to sit still for just, a little bit. And then it's like, okay, well, am I going to turn on the TV and watch something that I probably don't really want to watch anyway? Or am I going to pick up a notepad and a pen and start writing out like what I'm going to work on tomorrow, or planning out this new program, like different things like that. And kind of feeling like, I enjoy doing that. That is relaxing. I don't feel stressed while I'm doing or anything. It makes me feel good, even though it still is work. Like, is that a real thing, or is that like some sort of, I'm gonna say cop out, although that's probably not the best word to use for it. Like, am I justifying my behavior because I really just don't know how to relax, or is it really what I think it is? And so like I'm guilty of this, but I do know other women. Most of them are also entrepreneurs, so I don't know if it has something to do with the business aspect of it or not, who do the same thing. And it's just like, well, that is relaxing to me. That's how I want to spend my free time.
I hear you. it's interesting because I love what I do. I love working. Like sometimes I can spend Saturday. I actually spent last Saturday in the library for like 4 hours just working on stuff. And people are like, oh my God, like you're working. And I'm like, I like what I do. I like working. I like creating content. I do like it and I enjoy it, but there needs to be space with nothing, you know? There needs to be time where we just exist and we just breathe. Sometimes we're missing out on certain elements of our lives and we're successful and we're achieving, but we may be missing out on some emotional things. We're not checking in with ourselves. So sitting there, not working on anything, not watching a show allows you to check in with, how am I really feeling right now in this moment? Or spiritually, there are people who I'll talk to and they're like, I really want help to develop my spirituality. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be religion or going to church, but just a time to tap into your soul, your spiritual being. Like, does it feel okay? Are you all right with yourself? And we only can get that when we allow ourselves to sit still. Something that we can do is we can plan our pauses. So sometimes we can watch a show while working on Canva. I do that. Sometimes we can like create that program or write that article while we're doing something else, scrolling social media. That's okay. But there are times where I just go outside. I live in South Florida, lots of water around, and I'll just go outside and sit for 30 minutes and look at the water and listen to the wind blowing and the birds chirping and just be there and not doing anything, not on my phone, just looking at the ducks. It's a way to recharge and reset.
So what does pausing mean? So I think many of our viewers are high achieving women. They're highly skilled, highly intelligent women, and pausing to them could feel like, you know, they're quitting. It could feel like failure. It could feel like they're slacking or being lazy. So what does pausing actually mean?
Pausing actually means that you kind of like plug out of the matrix. You allow yourself to do that. And we talked about why you feel like you're quitting and why you feel like you're lazy. That came from somewhere. You didn't just automatically feel that way. You learned to feel that way. So pausing is actually allowing your brain to just be so it can recharge. Sometimes when you go out and you're quiet like that and you sit still, all of a sudden you're creative. Ideas start popping into your mind. You start feeling like, oh, I can focus now because I've allowed my mind to like reset that way and recharge. New ideas, sometimes solutions to problems that you didn't even know you had the solution in you. So that pause is actually allowing yourself, it's like kind of like letting your cell phone like fully charge. You know, when you're charging your cell phone and you use it, it takes a while to kind of charge up.
Right.
But in our pause, it's like allowing the cell phone to completely charge and you're not using it. It kind of speeds up. I remember a client explaining it this way. When I worked with her, we were working on this permission to pause. And she said, I actually needed to slow down to speed up. The slowing down allowed her to kind of see things clearly, figure out what she needed to do, put it in order, and then she was able to take off.
Yes. So when do you know, or how do you know whether you need a short pause or a long pause? So we think about, you know, just like, okay, well, I'm just going to take the afternoon off and do nothing, you know, versus I need a week away somewhere like from everything. Because I think sometimes like we'll build in those short pauses and we feel like we're doing enough, but maybe it's really not enough. And you still like you're getting a little bit of that recharge, but you're not getting fully charged because based on whatever life has been leading up to that, like you're really depleted and you just haven't gotten enough time to step away to fully recharge, using your words. So like, how do you determine when a short pause should be good versus when you really need to take more time?
I love that you say pauses. We can have them like on a regular basis. So we can plan to have those short pauses on a regular basis, but we can also plan long pauses as well. And I don't mean going on vacation. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm taking vacation, that's my pause. But you know, when you go on vacation, you're still putting out energy. Most likely you're with other people. You're not really with yourself. So you can plan time where it's like, I'm just going to take off a weekend, and you plan it in advance. I usually tell clients, pull out your planner, look at a month in advance, and plan those long pauses. Oftentimes we think of a pause as crisis intervention. We're waiting till we're in crisis and then like, oh my God, I want to run away. I feel trapped. I need to escape. But we shouldn't be waiting for a crisis. Now, there are times when you'll have to take a longer pause because there's a death in your family.
Mm-hmm.
You should take a long pause.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you can show up, allow yourself that permission to be like, no, let me allow myself to process this and grieve this. If you are having surgery or you're sick, allow yourself that window, that buffer time to recover, to allow yourself to go through that experience. Sometimes there are life transitions, like you just moved, you're moving, you went through a breakup, you're getting divorced. You should allow yourself some time to pause for like major life transitions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really good. The idea of, just planning in pauses to prevent yourself from getting to the point where you have to pause, because if you don't, the business is going to break down, the job is going to break down, the marriage is going to break down, you're going to break down, and not, like you said, waiting till you get into these critical moments and crisis mode to then decide you have to do something, but really doing the work, taking the actions necessary to maybe even minimize the likelihood of you ever getting to those points outside of like the things in life that you just have no control over. So that's really good. And I think a lot of times we as Black women, and especially Black women entrepreneurs, really struggle with that, kind of thinking ahead and thinking obviously about just self-care in general, right? And self-care beyond, I got my hair done, I got my nails done kind of thing, but more like your mind, like your mental health, self-care, and then like your soul care and your physical body care in terms of like, even fitness and taking time to work out and things like that versus just your outer beauty care. But like really recognizing the need for it, but also you're deserving of it. And I think part of the conversation that we don't often talk about is the reason why we don't do some of these things is because there is a deserve issue. We feel like we haven't done enough to earn the right to take a pause.
Again, that's learned.
Yeah.
That is also learned. And a lot of Black women, we've learned that you earn a vacation, you earn time off. It's reserved for certain things. On our birthday, we're like, it's my birthday, Mother's Day, it's Mother's Day. But outside of that, we really feel like, oh, I have to work really hard before I can enjoy this. I've heard women say, I will enjoy my business after I reach this number.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're waiting for a number, an event, or a thing, and then I can rest. Mm-hmm. And then I can take a break. And that mindset right there is definitely preventing us from, feeling good, from feeling well. So it's like identifying where this stuff comes from, right? These feelings. And once you identify them, changing your narrative about what it looks like. And that looks like saying like, I can rest and still be successful. Mm-hmm. I can take these breaks and pauses and things are still going to go on. They're not going to fall apart or crash without me. Mm-hmm. Once you build these foundations in your home and your family, once you build these things in your business or at work, I love that. I worked with a woman recently and she started going on vacation because she thought the department would fall apart without her. if she went on vacation. And once you train your staff, you have to now trust that they are going to show up and do what they need to do. And there might be little bumps in the road, but go on vacation. Now she's planning vacations. She's going away. She's taking time off.
Right.
The department didn't fall apart. Nobody hates her. Nobody fired her. Like, she's still going. So I think it's important to like think about, what narrative am I telling myself?
Yes. So good. So good. Can you share, as we wrap up this segment, just like 2 or 3 things that our audience members like should take away from this conversation, so they can begin to really do some things differently, so that they can figure out what that alignment looks like for them and have the things in place to support what they actually want?
Okay. Going back to something we started off talking about, what do you want? What do you want your ideal day to look like? Your ideal life? What's in alignment? What are your values? Maybe take some time to journal what that is. Like, just write it out. Don't worry about how is it going to happen yet, or if it's possible, because that's what stops us from writing what we want and saying what we want. You're just going to put it out there. Now, once you do that and you know what these things are, now you have to create some kind of practice or framework for yourself. And I have a great resource. It's a book that I usually recommend. It's called The Self-Care Prescription. And I believe the author is Robin Gobin. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she's a Black clinician. I encourage all my clients to get this book, The Self-Care Prescription, because it goes through the different kinds of self-care, and you mentioned them: emotional, mental self-care, physical self-care, spiritual self-care, social self-care, and professional self-care. These should be constants in our lives. We should be constantly working on these things. The getting your hair and your nails done, it's great. It's for a moment, but it doesn't get to the core of what's going on, right? It doesn't get to the core of your issues and what has you stressed out. Right. And that's where therapy comes in. You can talk about that in therapy and get to the source of it so you can change your narrative. And then the last thing I'll say is you have to plan it. It's not just going to happen when I have time, when I'm done this thing, when I reach that place. You have to pull out your planner and you can plan this in advance. That way you can prepare people in advance that I will not be available on this day and this weekend. And we know how to do that. Some of us say we don't know how to do that. I know, like, recently there was like the Beyonce concert and people were hopping on planes to go see Beyonce's concert. And they told people, like, listen, I'm going, and they figured out a way to do it. They planned it and they figured out a way to do it. So apply that to yourself. Like, don't just do it for other people. Like, oh, it's so-and-so's birthday, so I'm going to take the weekend off to go to their birthday trip. Do it for yourself the same way. And if you're like, oh, I have a lot going on now. Okay, well, push it out 2 months out, 3 months out. But once it's on there, then you have to protect your time. You have to protect your boundaries. You're not going to like cross it out and put somebody else's stuff in there. You're going to hold it for yourself.
Yeah, those are great tips. Great tips. I think back to our earlier conversation about the Black Superwoman syndrome. You know, like it correlates, you know, if you want to get over that, you want to be healed of that syndrome. There's some steps you're going to have to take to do it. And part of it is learning how to put yourself first and making yourself a priority. If that wording sounds better to you than putting yourself first, making yourself a priority and giving yourself the care and love and attention that you, at a minimum, that you give to other people, and the necessity to actually plan it. So that is great. As always, a valuable and much needed conversation. Now, of course, I want to make sure our audience knows how to connect with you, how to learn more about what you do to determine, if you're able to help them with whatever their needs may be. So share how they can get in contact with you.
Okay, my name is Seneca Williams. You can find me on social media at Ask Coach Sen. I'm on all the social media channels. I am the founder of the Conquer Network, so you can also find me at the Conquer Network. If you reach out to me, you can reach out to me through my website, senecawilliams.com. Send me a message. If you're a careerpreneur, meaning you are climbing the corporate ladder, or you have a job and you are building your business, or you are a full-time entrepreneur, I work with both. And I support you in either therapy or coaching. Now, therapy is clinical therapy. You know, I am a licensed therapist. So if you are feeling like I do have anxiety, I have depression, I'm going through grief or something like that, that's when you would reach out for therapy. But if you're like, I just need to change some things in my lifestyle, it's a little bit chaotic, I'm not living the way that I want to live, how do you do this self-care? I need some hand holding with this. That's when you reach out to me for coaching. And I can help you be a better entrepreneur for your business, break through any business anxiety or business burnout.
Awesome. Awesome. So ladies, be sure to connect with Seneca. And if you know you can benefit from the work she does, reach out and find out how you can engage with her. All right. So now stay tuned for what's next on The Coaches Are In. All right, ladies, I am so excited to be here for this segment. We know the holidays are upon us. Everyone is trying to get their house decorated and ready for the dinners and the parties and all of that good stuff. So I brought in an expert for you today to talk to you about holiday decorating. So we have Candace Giles here of A Savvy Soiree. Candace is a design curator, and I'm going to let her tell you exactly what that means and what she does. Candace, I'm glad to have you here with us today on The Coaches Are In.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I am excited to share with you all just some design tips and things you can do to just kind of take your holiday to the next level. Like Dr. Weatherspoon said, I am a design curator. And basically what that means is I am a visionary, and I can take your ideas, things that you tell me, or things that I may know about a client or about a person, and kind of put it together and design something that's reflective of their home, of their personality, of their style. And so what I love most about it is that it allows me to be creative. And I also love the joy that it brings to other people during this time. You know, we've heard the saying so many times, it's the most wonderful time of the year. And I truly believe that. You know, in Christmas, it's not just a day, but it's a season. You know, it's like there's winter, spring, summer, fall, and then there's Christmas, the season. And so, you know, that's what makes me a design curator. You know, I can visualize things and put things together, look at what you may already have in your home, and figure out how we can incorporate that into what your vision is for your home for the year.
Awesome. That sounds great. It's very interesting because in my household, we don't do a lot of holiday decorating. And part of that for me is because it's another thing to think about and plan out, and just like, I don't have the capacity for that right now. A few years ago, I had 4 children, and when they were younger, it was just like, okay, do you guys really want a tree? Or would you rather have more gifts and we just buy the tree? And they're like, we'll take more gifts. Okay, great. That just made it so much easier for me. So I know that holiday decorating, while some people enjoy it, they love the outcome of it, it is another thing to add to a long list of things to do, and it can become overwhelming. So what kind of challenges do you find, that your clients are dealing with that even lead them to reaching out to get a design curator to come in and just take care of this for them?
Well, exactly like you said, everyone wants a beautiful home. At the holidays, no one wants to design it because, like you said, it's just another thing to do. And stressful. It can cause some anxiety. So it's like, why not hire a service like myself to come in to do all of the work for you? And then you can take the credit and get the pat on the back when you host that party or have people over for dinner. They'll say, wow, your home looks amazing. Oh yeah, I've been working on this a couple of weeks. I don't, mind at all. Whatever it is going to take the stress off of you. And so for a lot of people, it's about the convenience, just to have someone else come in and deal with it. For a lot of people, taking the tree down is a chore, putting all the decorations back. And so the service that I provide is just basically a convenience. And I like it, I love it. So, it's a win-win on both sides for me. But yeah, it's a service that you want a beautiful home. You just don't want the headache of having to create it.
Okay, so you not only create it, like come up with the design, implement it, but then you come back and take it all down and put it away too?
Yep, I come back and I take it down and put it all away too.
Okay, so those people who end up having their tree up until February, just because they just don't do it.
Exactly.
They don't have to worry about that anymore, right?
Or we schedule it all at the same time. So I'll schedule you for your installation and I'll schedule you for your uninstall, and I'll come, take it all down, put it away. The beauty is it takes a fraction of the time to put it away as it does to take it up, or to put it up, I would say. So yeah.
All right. So with Christmas coming up now, because obviously those who really want the help and can afford the help too, because obviously you're hiring a professional. There's a cost that's associated with that. So we have some people who are overwhelmed by it, but they still want to decorate. But maybe I can't hire the design curator this year. What are some general holiday decorating tips that you would give just to make this process a little less overwhelming, but still end up with a nice result?
Yes. So there are a couple things you can do. You can go to where they sell real Christmas trees. Go there and buy some garland. Go and buy a wreath. You can bring that into your home, and the smell alone will just put you in the mood for Christmas. It's relatively inexpensive. I'm allergic to Christmas trees, or real Christmas trees. Can you believe that? So I can't personally do that. But that's one thing that you can do. You can also get beautiful flowers, place flowers around your home, maybe even at the base of your fireplace. That always is a great addition. You can also just do some garlands, be it garlands on your stairs, garlands on your table. So it doesn't always have to be about the tree. You can still bring some joy and some decor into your home without the full massiveness of a tree, because sometimes it can just be overwhelming. You can also use some decorative pieces like some vases, put some Christmas flowers in them, just small things like that. They go a long, long way. Maybe take out some of those ornaments that your kids have made in school throughout the years, and put those around, allow those to be some memories, from when your kids were younger. So you can do very small things that bring joy to your home, can even spark some memories, spark some conversations when you have people over. So a little bit can go a long way sometimes.
Okay. Those are really good tips. Now, let's see if we can settle a debate.
Okay.
Should the Christmas tree go up?
Oh, that's hard.
Because we have those Black Friday people. It goes up the day after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
It goes up Christmas Eve. And then everything in between there.
Yes. So like I said before, Christmas is a season. Okay. Christmas is a season. But I guess it's up to you to determine when your season starts. Okay. So you definitely have the Black Friday people where it goes up the day after Thanksgiving, and then it also comes down the day after Christmas. So, that's a season for some of those people. Then you have people who will wait till the week of, and it goes up, they put it up, they enjoy it, and then it's down right away. And then you have those of us like me who, the season for me really starts the last week of October, very early November. But here's why. The reason why I do it so early in my own home is because I typically start the 1st of November decorating for clients. So I try and get my home decorated first. That way, it's just done. It's over with. I don't have to think about it. So my personal season starts, I think this year, I have myself on the schedule for October 27th, which means I'll put my tree up. I may not have all of them up. I kind of may, schedule one for one day, one for another day. One of the things I heard you mention was about you have 4 children. So I have 2 daughters. And I remember when they were much younger, I would put their tree up on Christmas Eve, like once they went to bed, so that it could be a 100% surprise when they got up Christmas morning. Well, as they got older, they started wanting to see their tree longer. Christmas Eve just wasn't enough. So I started putting their tree up a little bit earlier. A couple years, I put their tree in their room. When they were younger, they shared a room, and then they got their own rooms, and they each got a tree that kind of matched their style. So for us, because I decorate trees, and I've always made it a big deal and about the memories. We're seasonal people, so it's normally up for quite a bit of time, but I'm ready for it to come down right after Christmas. I've had enough by then.
Right. Well, let's talk about the multiple tree thing here. I do know people who have multiple trees. When we were putting up a tree, like if we got a tree, we were lucky to get a tree. Because again, the thought of having to do that more than one time, it's a lot. Season. Let's just talk about that. Multiple trees.
So multiple trees, we normally do like a very formal tree,
Okay.
Either in the morning room or in the living room, and then we'll do something fun in the basement. I've done Candyland before. I think this year I'm going to do the Grinch. So typically the fun tree is something related to my kids. My daughter, she dances ballet, and she's been in the Nutcracker the last couple years. So I did a Nutcracker themed tree for her. My younger daughter went through this phase where she loved dinosaurs. So her tree had dinosaurs on it. So this year, I think I'm just going to do 3 trees. I'll have this one behind me in the morning room. I'll do one in the living room. And then I think this year I'm going to do the other one on the stair landing. That'll be a first for me. I think I may do it on the stair landing, something family oriented, because we have like a picture wall of all of our varying family pictures throughout the year. So something kind of family-ish. But yeah, we normally have multiple trees, multiple themes. And again, it's about the memories. My girls will be able to tell their kids, Grandma used to always have a tree up for us, and do different things. And so I think that means the most than, the inconvenience of it all, because getting them down is definitely something you have to consider.
Yes. I love it. I think my grandchildren may benefit from that. So maybe I'll put some trees up for my grandchildren when I have them. And my children are like, well, wait a minute, we stopped having trees at this point. But it's great. It really is about the memories.
Yeah.
So even in the case of families who don't have trees, for whatever reason they may not have them, you can still make your memories around the holiday.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So let's focus in on the tree a little bit more, because I know that's, kind of your specialty.
Okay.
So what should we be considering when it's time to put the tree up?
So there are a couple things you should consider. The first thing you want to think about is the size. And you think about the size first because you want to consider the space where the tree is going to go. So if it's going to go in your foyer area, maybe where your ceilings are a little bit taller, maybe you have 12 to 20 foot ceilings in your foyer, then you can get a tree that's a little bit taller. But if you put your tree inside of a room that has standard size ceilings, which is, anywhere from maybe 8 to 9 feet, you want to be considerate of that when you purchase your tree. And you never want to get a tree the exact same size as the height of the ceiling. And that's because you need space for your topper. Even if you haven't decided what it is, you still need space for your topper. So that's the very first thing to consider, not only in height, but you need to also consider the width. Trees can run anywhere from about 47 inches wide to 67 inches wide. And so you need to know how much space you have for this tree before you buy it, because the last thing you want to do is unbox this big old tree and it doesn't fit in a little space, or it's a small tree and it really should be a little bit bigger to kind of fill in the space and, to make it feel a little bit more homely. So that's the first thing. The second thing you want to do is you want to think about what design, or what I say the word design, but what vision it is that you have for your tree. Are you a person that likes a bunch of ornaments? Are you a person that likes ribbon? Are you a person that likes flowers? So you may have to just kind of consider your own personal and individual style, because that's going to kind of steer you into the direction of what you're going to need for your tree. And then the last thing I would consider is the quantities and how much of everything. Every time I teach a class, that's one of the first things that people say, well, how many ornaments do I need? How many ornaments do I need? And it really kind of depends. What's your vision for your tree? When you see a tree in a magazine, are you drawn to the ones that have a lot of stuff on them? Or are you drawn to the ones that are a little more simplistic, that just kind of have, ornaments placed here or there? Either style is fine. You just got to know what it is that you like, so that then you can zone in on that vision and you can execute.
That's really good. Really good. All right. So I think you're going to show us something on a tree. Yes.
So I want to just share maybe about 4 or 5 different tips and strategies that I use when decorating a tree. It's helped me out tremendously. It's helped with timing. But one thing I do want to say about that is you never want to remove the creative process. You don't want this to become so mechanical that you're not enjoying it, because this is still supposed to be fun. And yes, there's some math involved and some creativity, but you just want to make sure that you don't take the fun out of it, because if it's not fun, you're not going to want to do it. You're just not. So yes, I have a tree behind me that I'm going to show you a couple things, and we're going to talk about it. And I'm excited.
Awesome. Let's get to it.
All righty. All right. So here we have a 7-foot flock tree, and the ceilings in this room are 8 feet tall. So this is a 7-foot tree. Like I mentioned a few moments ago, you never want to get a tree that's exactly the same size as your ceilings, because you want to have space for your topper. So I'm going to go over about 5 tips that I use when decorating my tree. And the very first one is I always start with the topper. And here's why. Because depending upon how big your topper is, that's going to determine how much of the tree you have left to decorate, which will go into your ornament count. So if you have a topper that's anywhere from 12 to 24 inches, now you've taken about 2 feet off of the total size of the tree that you have to decorate. So now, opposed to you having enough ornaments for a 7-foot tree, you really only need enough ornaments for a 5-foot tree. Okay. So number one, we're going to start with the topper. Here, I've just placed some sprigs down into the topper. They are adjustable, so I can pull them up, push them down. If I wanted it to be a little higher to the ceiling, I could definitely do that. But you just want to kind of have fun with it. These are pretty fun. They kind of spring out a little bit. So the topper is there. The next thing, or tip number 2, I would say you want to start with your ribbon. Ribbon is an awesome space filler for your tree, because it will allow you to not need as many ornaments. And that's the goal, right? So we have 2 different style and 2 different types of ribbon that are here on this tree. The first one that I want to point out to you is the red ribbon. The red ribbon is 4 inches, and it's what they call a deluxe. It's a deluxe velour style ribbon. So it's 4 inches, and then I have layered on top of it a 2.5 inch ribbon. As you can see, it's beautiful. It gives the tree some dimension. And then what you want to do is you just want to take it and make some loops. I started up here at the top and kind of went down into a diagonal. Because the tree mirrors the shape of a triangle, you want to always go at diagonal angles when you do your tree. Could you do top to bottom? Yeah, but that's really no fun. If you went from the top here and straight down, when you go to the sides and you'll give it some dimension with your angles. All right. The third thing is you want to start with your statement pieces. Statement pieces are either very large ornaments, it can be signs, or it could even be flowers. So in this case, I had 2 statement pieces that I, wanted to use for this particular tree. You see one of them here, and then you see the other right here. I also, again, did them at a diagonal. That way you can see both of them. If I put both of them here, the symmetry of the tree would be off. Or even if I did both of them together, it just doesn't make for great symmetry. So putting them at angles, it gives both sides of the tree some balance. All right. And then a couple other statement pieces that I have here are these magnolia flowers, which are gorgeous. They are gold magnolias. I have about 5 of them on the tree. And again, they're all at an angle. So you see one there, one here, there, and there. This tree is also in a corner. So if, let's say I put it in the middle of, the floor or somewhere where you could see the back, I would do the same thing on the back that you see on the front. So if there are 5 magnolias here on this side, I would do the same thing on the other side. You won't see anything on the back of this tree, so, no real sense in covering it. You also want to make sure that you can see your pieces. So you can just take and kind of adjust them, open up those flower petals a little bit more. That way you can see how pretty it is. All right. Then something else I want to talk about is the actual texture of the ornaments. You can use so many different textures because it makes your tree so multidimensional. So like you'll see here, I have a glitter ornament, then I have a shiny one here. I have a red one that's a chunkier glitter, and then I have a gold one here. I have a couple more over here. So here is a gold glitter ornament. So we already have one here, and we're talking about our diagonals. Where do you think this one should go? I'm thinking maybe it could go right here. You can always move your branches around and kind of make a space so it'll fit a little snug in there. And you're probably thinking, oh, you've got something gold there, gold here, gold there. But it's okay. We can use a red ornament and kind of break it up a little bit. So yeah, that could go in there. Let's see. We have another one. We have another one here, which will be diagonal to this one, that we can put in there. And look, it breaks up that magnolia, and that gold right there. So you want to do your ornaments at an angle. You want to also start with the ornaments that you have the most of. So if you have a whole lot of glitter, you want to put all of those on there first and just put them like this at a diagonal. And you can do that all the way down the tree to the bottom. You'll do the same thing on the back side as well. These are a little chunkier glitter ornaments. So you can put that one there. We can put one over here. And a lot of this is repetition. You're doing the same thing over and over again until your tree is filled into your liking. Like I said earlier, some people like a lot of ornaments on their tree, others not so much. Let me show you two other things that you can do. So these are like some little glitter branches. And you see I have one right here. These are awesome fillers. If you don't want to put any more ornaments into a place, you just want to take it, stick it in tree. I'm going to take it, stick it in. Your branches are also your tools. You can also use your branches to secure, when you stick this in, just kind of take a branch and fold a branch around it. That way, it's kind of secure and it doesn't come off. So you can just kind of stick those in. You can do those in the same pattern of a diagonal. I just kind of stuck those in there. And then we also have these. What are some red glitter sprigs? You can take them and kind of spread them apart. And these can be multi-use. You can also use these in the topper. So I could put these up here and add to my topper just to give it, just to give it some color and a little extra. You see that, and then I would of course put another on the other side. But it just brings your topper up another level, gives it some more color. And then the other thing that we can do the same thing with this that we did with these. Same thing. So we're going to take these and do the same thing. Just stick it all the way in there. How pretty is that? And you can do multiples of them. Same thing. Take it, stick it in there. It's a little longer, so it'll take up, some space. Versatile, right? We love pieces that we can switch up. As women, we'll throw a blazer on top of something, switch the tank top up. Same concept with this. So just a quick recap and review. We're going to start with the topper. Then we're going to go to the ribbon. Then we're going to go to the ornaments. And then we're going to go into our fillers. Again, how many you use is completely up to you and the vision that you have for your tree. You can use as many or as less as you would like. If you only have 3 of one kind or maybe 6 of another, you want to place the 6 first, and then you go back and you place the 3. So always remember to start with what you have the most of, and then use what you have the least amount of. And then my final tip is we can have this pretty red and gold tree and put purple wrapping paper under this tree. No, your wrapping paper has to match your tree. It's just going to give it an elevated look. It's going to make it cohesive. So you just want to make sure the gifts that go under this tree should be red and gold, white. I'll even take some silver, but purple paper, no. Blue paper, no. Kids paper, no. Definitely not. So wrapping paper is the last thing or the last tip I would give. When you wrap your gifts, just make sure that the paper matches the theme of the tree. All right, so I hope that these tips were helpful. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me on social media. You can find me on Instagram at Have a Savvy Soiree. You can find me on Facebook at A Savvy Soiree Holiday Decor. I would love to see your pictures. I would love to see what you create and what memories you make for your families as well. So I would love to hear from you. If you would like more information, want to maybe even book me for the 2024 season and allow me to, take the headache away, take the anxiety away, and just create something masterful for your home. I would love to do that. You can reach me at haveasavvysoiree@gmail.com. And again, I love to hear from you. So thank you. I hope that this was helpful, and have a great holiday season.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Candace.
Absolutely.
All of the tips were great. And I'm kind of like, okay, I could probably do that. So that was inspiring. But the last tip about the wrapping paper is something I actually never thought about. It's like, well, I'm using this color theme on the tree, and then I just go look for like what wrapping paper do I like, or if the gift was for a child, using a wrapping paper that was appropriate for a child.
No. The wrapping paper, the truth.
That's a really good tip.
Who it is that it's for.
Mhm.
Because again, that also comes into play when you have multiple trees. You put the kids' stuff under the kids' tree, and you can wrap it in, whatever happens in that. So, yes.
Good.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I hope it was helpful.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing with our audience how they can connect with you. Now, you did say if they wanted to book you for the 2024 season. So what is the right time to reach out, to book a service like this?
So my books normally open on July 15th. I'm sure you all have heard of, or maybe you haven't heard of, Christmas in July. It's about the midway point of the year. It's when a lot of the trends come out. It's when holiday distributors begin to get in new ornaments and things that are going to be really trendy for the year. So Christmas in July is a whole thing. So my books open on July 15th. If you are interested, I know some people say, oh no, that's too early. I can't start thinking about Christmas. Well, you're going to have to, think about it pretty early. And again, just reach out. Let's have a conversation about, what it is you're thinking. And then we have some time to kind of plan it out so that we can execute whatever it is that you envision for your home that particular year. So.
Great. And you service the DMV area, correct?
Yes, I do. I serve Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, Prince George's County, Montgomery County, Charles County, and Virginia as far as Richmond, McLean, Woodbridge, the DMV metropolitan area.
Okay. Now, for those of us who are not in the DMV area, but would like some support, do you do any consultative kind of work, like help develop the vision? And
yes. I offer 30-minute as well as 1-hour consultations. They're typically on Zoom so that we can see each other. We can kind of share screens, and we can talk about what it is that you want to see happen. And then maybe what I can do is I can even order everything for you and ship it to your house. That way you'll have, all of the ornaments, you'll have them in the quantities that you need. So yes, we can definitely set up a consultation and just talk about what your vision is.
Awesome. Now, just one last time before we wrap up, share how our audience can get in contact with you.
Yes. So email, it's haveasavvysoiree@gmail.com. And savvy is SAVVY. Soiree is SOIREE. On Instagram, you can find me at Have a Savvy Soiree. And on Facebook, you can find me at A Savvy Soiree Holiday Decor. So you can reach out to me on any platform, email, and I'll get back to you. Would love to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Candace.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right, ladies, I hope you got a lot out of this segment. Great tips. Help if you need it. Take advantage of it. And now just stay tuned for what's next on The Coaches Are In.
All right, so that is it for this episode of The Coaches Are In. I know you liked it. I'm not going to say that. I hope you liked it. I know you liked it. You got something out of it. Yes. And we're just, always glad to be in front of you to share from our expertise and experience to help you move to the next level of your life. Now, I just want to remind you to like and subscribe at thecoachesrn.tv. Your support is essential to us continuing on. Like I said, I know you liked it, but I need you to let us know
Right.
that you liked it
And
by
share.
liking and subscribing and sharing.
That's right.
Yes, let your friends know. Check us out Mondays at 8 p.m. on YouTube, thecoachesrn.tv. Also, if you'd like to be featured on the show for our next season as a guest expert or to be acknowledged for contributions to the community, or if you know someone who would be good for that, go visit our website at thecoachesrn.com. Fill out the form and let us know, and then we'll be in touch with you. Now, as always, we are signing out, and we wish you a great week. Remember who you are and whose you are, and go do your thing, sis. All right.
That's right.
And we will catch you next week, same time, same place at the Coaches RN. But for now, the coaches are out.